A lot of coaches and a lot of mentors, sometimes they're afraid of their students becoming better than them.
It's your process. You're unique.
Yes, definitely.
Right? And I don't see anyone as competition.
No.
When really you just have to worry about what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And I feel like that right there,
Yeah.
when I started to lean into my purpose, it changed everything.
Hi, my name is Mark McLaughlin.
And I'm Falesha Raquel.
And today we're going to go a little deep, Falesha. We're going to talk about our process through the industry and actually who put us on.
Yeah.
And when was that, and how was that process like? I'll speak a bit about my experience. So when I joined the mortgage industry, I joined with a friend. He was great. He actually wanted me to work with him. We're still friends to this day. We don't do business together, but he introduced me to another colleague friend that actually I worked for in a brokerage doing mortgages, and I was doing a lot of underwriting, a lot of I guess people call it desk work.
Yeah. Admin.
A lot of admin,
Yeah.
and how that process was. But it was very tedious. I was coming from a restaurant background, which was very different from. Now, I was always good with numbers, which was great. I love numbers, so it actually worked hand in hand. But it was a different business, getting into it and actually getting acclimated. I just remember being very intimidated. Being very small.
Yeah.
Very unsure.
Like you didn't fit in yet.
I didn't fit in at all.
Yeah.
And especially just not a lot of our ethnic people are in that business as well. And it actually got to a point where I was going to quit.
Wow.
And I had a significant other at the time, and she was like, "Yeah, you should just leave it alone." And thank God I didn't.
Yeah.
But I went through that process. But I'm forever grateful for the gentleman that put me on. His name is Jay. Shout out to Jay. He put me on and really believed in me. And I could call him anytime. And he was just a support system. And I saw him. He's a very still successful to this day.
Yeah.
And we're still great friends. But I'm forever grateful because, again, working the 9-to-5 job comparison to what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine, going back to a 9-to-5. It would be very difficult for me. That's why I think I worked so hard in the industry. But tell me a bit about your, when you started, what was that process like? Maybe who put you kind of in the right track or helped you along the way? And how was that process when you first started?
Wow. Okay. When I think about when I first started, I'm talking about in the year of 2003, started, long time ago, okay?
Well, aren't you 19?
Yeah,
How
please.
2003?
You'd think I'd pay for that. No, it's 2003 is when I started.
Okay.
I really had to make a decision. I wanted to be a business owner. My mom's like, oh yeah, you should really think about what you want to do.
Yep.
My mom, in nursing, PSW work, I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So the long and short of it is I got into, entertainment space. I had a talent agency at the time. I loved to perform, I was super young then and it was fun.
Yep.
But when I think about people that really put me on, there wasn't a particular person in that season and chapter of my life that I would say would put me on.
Yep.
I think for me, I can really just shout out the people who supported my business then, whether all the talent, all the people who bought into the service that we were offering. Those people really showed me, where the company could go, and they were teaching me how to be a better leader, right? Yeah. So all the people that, were great to me, all the people that were mean to me, all the people that backstabbed me, all the people who really taught me a lesson. They say people are in your life for a reason, season, or a lifetime. And I learned so much from those people. Yeah. I got, a lot of hurt and a lot of pain from some of those people who did backstab me, but they taught me so much. And so I just do want to actually necessarily genuinely thank them. Because I wouldn't be this person that I am today in my professional real estate business, coaching business, multiple business ventures right now if it wasn't for them. And most importantly, the people who allowed me to grow, such as my husband, my family, to just be there and support me when I really needed. There are times when I first started my business where I was like looking at my husband like, I'm not going to make my hefty rent payment, of my dance studio at that point. And thank God he was there and he believed in me enough to be like, okay, honey, I got you. Don't worry. And I really thank him for just being there, because there's a lot of spouses, you said in your experience that weren't supportive. And if you don't have that support system, like super solid, tight with a good foundation, it's going to be very hard to, face that person when you're going through it. You have to see them at night. And if they're not your favorite person in that season, it's hard to cope and stand them.
Yeah,
right?
And they're not, and then when they're not supporting you, it almost feels like almost like a double-edged sword, because when business isn't going right, and now you have this person maybe in your ear saying, "Hey, you know what?
Give up.
I don't think this is for you," or I don't. And sometimes that is a reality. Like, don't get it twisted. Some people do business and they shouldn't be in business. You know, we know a few, but anyways. But at the end of the day, you still need that support system to go through, to see it through.
Yes.
And I think that's what we don't talk about as far as a business front, is having that support system in the background. Again, I had a lot of tunnel vision, but I had a lot of support as well. And I want to thank, just as you, I want to thank all the people that helped me along this journey and got me to where I needed to be, because I feel like I'm stronger in business now than I've ever been.
Exactly.
Just going through the trials and tribulations, and people don't realize, but this is the constant flow of business. It goes up and down.
It does,
There's good days and bad days. Like you said, there's some nights where you don't know where you're going to make your payment. And there's some nights you're on a yacht in Jamaica, so it just kind of is what it is. But unpacking that, helping, so people helped us. I've helped a lot of people on in the industry. You've obviously helped a lot of realtors on, and business people on. I do want to unpack, though, sometimes where that goes wrong. I've helped people in the past, and it's caused friction in our relationship, our business relationship, even friendships I've lost because of business. And it's kind of taboo to talk about. It's kind of hush hush. But, again, my experience, just speaking about my experience, I put someone on. I expected them to kind of, join me and, be part of my crew and my business, because I had led them the way, right? I had helped them out. I'd say, hey, do this, do that. Oh, wow, you got your license. Hey, amazing. So I'm expecting, hey, they're going to join
you. Yeah.
I think anyone would, right? Just to have them go to another,
like a competitor. Oh my gosh.
and it was tough to swallow at first. And it even came to the point where they would call me for advice while they were at the other competitor and expecting me to give them advice.
Did you ever tell them how you felt, though?
We did. We had a conversation.
After?
Yeah, we had a convo after.
Okay, that's good. That's healthy.
And it wasn't, again, I saw his point of view. He saw mine. But again, I don't know if I was wrong for not, like, when he called me for advice, I didn't give it to him, because that's how.
Because your built up animosity was.
Yeah. And I don't know if that was wrong in the time. It may have been. I may have not been. I don't know. But that's how I felt at the time. So I was like, no, I'm not giving you no advice. Good luck. You know what I mean? So, and it wasn't that I didn't want to. It's just that I felt betrayed by that process. And again, we're friends. There's no bad blood. He's hopefully forgiven me. I've forgiven him, and we move on.
Moved on, yeah.
But in that instance, that was very, very detrimental to our relationship. Have you been through like a similar experience or stuff like that that's happened where you maybe went above and beyond to help someone?
Oh gosh.
Bring someone on, and then it kind of reversed and twisted in a heartbeat?
Yeah, definitely. I think that I'm just at that place now. And you guys will get to that place where you're at a place of peace. And it's the best place to actually be, right? Early in my career, in my early 20s, as I said, starting off very early, owning multiple companies, I put on a lot of people, bringing them into our industries, spending a lot of time, effort, and love and mentoring, trying to make them someone that they desired to be. And I knew I had the capacity to do it. Absolutely. And I had the means to do it at the time, right? And I was able to do that. And then they ended up turning around and opening their own businesses, their own competing companies, right? And I was really like, the Falesha back then was cutthroat. Like I was not the Falesha today. Now I can understand, like you go and do that. I can look at it from a place of peace and be like, wow, like I'm really genuinely excited for your business, grow your business. It's the way people do it. It's how they do it, not what they do.
That's right.
That's a thing for me, right? So if you want to do that, for me, I just want to have the transparency. Like my mentoring, where do you want to take this? Do you want to open your own business? Are you trying to compete with me at this point, right? But I think you just get to that place of peace, to be honest. Like for instance, myself as a realtor, I coach realtors today to have their own real estate businesses and practices. They're not necessarily a part of my team, but I'm more than willing to help them because I want to see them succeed. People who want to open their own coaching businesses, no problem. Let's go and do it, because I've come to that place and realization that nobody's going to actually ever be me with my experiences, with my skill sets, with, my anointing, the way I believe that God has ordained for over my life. And same for you, right? So I think once you get to that place and you realize like the whole grand scheme of things, you're better off. But who I was in my 20s, like if you did that to me and you crossed me, I was like, you are cut, done, blocked, everything. I was just completely different. I was super, super cutthroat, and I admit it. But it's just growth. You grow in your journey. You grow as an individual, as a person. In my real estate business, I was searching and searching for many years for somebody to also, mentor and help me. And finding the right people, it's not easy, especially when you're already on the top of your pyramid, right?
And you mentioned something, communication. I think that is a key piece, because let's be honest, in life, everyone has their own journeys, right? And sometimes you got to make those tough decisions to veer off. Even I did, you know what I mean? And I was lucky enough where I had a mentor. Again, I mentioned them before, but I did have a conversation with them. I called them one day. I said, listen, this is what's going on. Thinking about opening my own thing. I just want to like thank you for like everything that you've taught me and this and that. And I was transparent, and he wasn't necessarily happy, but he was graceful enough to say, hey, you know what? Good luck. If anything changes, we're here. And he's been in business a very, very long time. And I just loved the grace. And then, once we still did business together, we actually co-brokered a few deals and this and that. And to this day, when we go and have drinks and stuff like that, I'm so super respectful. Like if he's in my presence, he doesn't pay for a drink. Put it that way. You know what I mean? Because I love him, because he put me in a position, for one, he didn't have to. And two, I'll always it changed my family's life. It changed the dynamic of what I could make in my pocket compared to the 9 to 5 I was talking about. And so how could I be mad or be upset at someone like that? I communicated it the right
of course.
way, right?
And that's what it's all about, communication.
And I've had other agents where I've tried to say, hey, you know what? You open your own brokerage, you do this. And I've had them, do the fake documents and this and that, and actually try to screw up my business, which is a whole other conversation. Who I don't answer their call. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I don't feel bad, because you tried to take food out of my family's pocket. So why should I have any empathy towards you or access towards me? Hell no.
No, I understand that for sure.
Respectfully.
And as you have your mentor, I feel like people need to be on a consistent pursuit of finding somebody that they can get mentoring from, get coaching from. Don't be afraid, spend the money, go and be resourceful. It's not that you lack resources. You're just not being resourceful. For me, my coach, shout out Sherry Swift. I love her to pieces. She's in the States. Wow. Somebody just mentioned that, she's a coach and she could definitely help out. And this was really at the pinnacle of my career. I was doing really, really well.
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted to expand and be international. And there was nobody in Canada that I can find that really aligned with me and my core values and who was like a force. And I finally, after many years of searching, found this lady, or it was a blessing actually, because some other agent in the States put me onto her.
Nice.
I quickly booked a ticket. I jumped on a flight. I went to go and meet this lady. I spent the weekend with her,
Nice.
In her home, and she mentored and she coached me and gave me a different perspective.
Amazing.
And I loved her for that, for just taking me under her wing like a mother almost, you know?
Yeah.
And my experience with her and just like growing and just having a paradigm shift in my career really helped elevate and give me a different mindset.
Absolutely.
Right. So I think you need to always be searching for somebody that you align with and share the same core values with.
Yep.
And, share different ideas and thoughts, right? Throw it all on the table. There's no competition. It's all about collaboration, right? There might be something that they're doing that you can do in your country, in your state, the way you do it to make money as well. You learn from them, right? And that's one of the things, like, a lot of coaches and a lot of mentors, sometimes they're afraid of their students becoming better than them or exceeding over them. And there is no competition.
Let's unpack that. Let's unpack that because that's one thing, the competition thing is something that I think it can make you or break you.
Yes.
And, from my perspective, in the mortgage industry, there's a lot of obviously mortgage brokers, principal brokers, agents, so on and so forth. But you said something earlier, it's your process. You're unique.
Yes, definitely.
Right? And I don't see anyone as competition.
No.
If anything, if I see another mortgage broker, I'm like, hey, how's it going? Do you have any lenders we can do business with together? Like, I want to collaborate more so than, he works for things, this and that. And I think that when I made that shift as opposed to competition, opposed to collaboration, that's when my business started taking off.
Yes, of course.
And I really started opening up to things and not getting mad if I lost a deal to agent B or A. And mind you, I wanted the deal, but at the end of the day, I look internally and say, hey, maybe I could have done something better in that instance. Yeah. And not to go off topic, but I think, competition is just an illusion to me.
It is.
Right?
It is.
You are an extremely successful realtor. How does that work? Because I know you're extremely confident, which I love, and you are a boss in your own right. But, some people are coming and saying, hey, I'm better than Falesha Raquel and this and that. Like, how do you view that when that kind of animosity happens or that look or...
You know what? There's going to be there's like 86 year to date right now, 86,000 realtors out there that you can work with and not want to work with me. And if people come to me, I've had, clients come to me and be like, oh, Tom, Dick, Harry, and their mamas are charging this, that, and the other, right? Yeah. And I'm like, okay, great, go with them. No. Because I know my value. I know my value proposition. I've been in business for a long time. I'm not here to sell you on anything. No. Go Google me, do your own due diligence. If I align with you, great. If not, no problem. Yeah. I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Right. And sometimes the juice is just not worth the squeeze. I rather make, $1 million than have $1 trillion headache. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to take you on and then you are going to be, big, tremendous pain in my rear because you want things a certain way and your expectations are so high of me. Like, if I can serve you, I will definitely do my utmost best to serve you. My team and I will, put everything together, structure it, do all the things, open up our network to do all of the things that we need necessary to make it successful. But I'm also not going to be bullied and you compare me to somebody else. It's not going to work for me. That's not, I'm not just starting my career. I've been doing international real estate for quite some time now. Been in the local market here in Toronto and been creating businesses for well over a decade. I know what I'm doing, right? So there's really no competition. No one's going to ever have your history, your background, your perceptions, your history, just the same. Like with mine, you're not going to have it. Yeah. So we all bring something unique to the table, right? Yeah,
and I love that because it's again, a lot of people get what's the word I'm looking for? They look external and what that person doing, what that person. When really you just have to worry about what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I love about your business. like you're not looking at everyone else. You're creating what you're creating within your
This is the world. This is our tribe. This is it.
You don't care what Tom, Dick, and Harry are doing.
Yeah,
right?
and their mamas. Don't forget their mamas.
And their mamas. So, but I think that's what really gravitated me to, because I'm the same way. I'm just, I know a few people in the industry. Obviously, I've been in long enough, but I'm not sitting there and saying, hey, what's this person doing? What's that person doing? You know, maybe I should do it like them. No, I'm worried about my own world and making sure I execute, make sure I'm good, and making sure that I know my stuff. And I think that goes a long way.
It does,
Now, going on to the subject, another subject, is helping others when it actually works out. Because we unpacked, when it doesn't work out, and the goods and bads with that. But actually, when it does work out, so I'll give you a story. I have an agent that actually was with me for 2.5 years. Great guy. And he wanted to open his own brokerage. And like I said, communicated with me well. He was a high level broker. Like he was making, at some points, he was making much money as me, which I was like, whoa, what's
amazing.
Going on? But so it's sad to see him leave, because I was, you're getting your little cut from it. So you're kind of like, you're going like, what can I do? This and that.
How can I keep you? You're a rock star. Yeah.
So what we actually ended up doing is we opened up a subsidiary and let him kind of run his own team.
Yeah, cool.
And then after he ran his own team, he kind of said, you know what, I'm going to go out and
do my own thing.
And he communicated that with me. Very successful right now, which I love. And, I feel good because I had a small part in that, right? Yeah. And he still calls me for advice and this and that, and we still communicate. But there's sometimes where it does work out well. And, but I think the key to this is communication and being upfront and not doing things in a very slimy, sneaky way where you're trying to, almost steal someone's sauce and then say it's your sauce.
Yeah, it's not what you do, it's how you do it.
Exactly. Have you had any experiences like that where, good news, like you've had someone on your team, but they've moved on and they've done, great things above and beyond what they did with you?
100%, Mark, 100%. As I said, in my 20s, I spent a lot of those years getting backstabbed. Or actually, in my eyes, it was a backstabbing, right? A lot of pain, a lot of hurt. People were opening their own companies, competing with me, all of that. I couldn't digest it properly. I didn't see it. And then I realized, I'm like, okay, God has really ordained me. That's literally my calling. I'm really good at it. I'm an inspiration. So I'm like, okay, let me rock with this for a little bit.
Absolutely.
So then in my early 20s, I started helping people develop their strategies, develop their business models, really take them to places where they thought they couldn't, get them financing, funding, expose them to certain networks and, just things. And I feel like that right there, when I started to lean into my purpose, it changed everything.
And just to add to that, for those of you watching, Falesha is the best at helping you open a business. So if you're looking to open a business and really scale, she is the one to take care of that.
Thank you.
You can get in touch with her.
No, it's definitely a passion of mine. I love seeing people, when they come to me and they're like, I have this idea. I'm like, oh my God, tell me more about it. Like that's how I know it's my calling. I feel like if 10 people were to call me today, I'm super excited. Like, I'm like, let's do this. I know how to do it. I can do it in 24 hours. Let's make it work. Just off camera a while ago, we were talking to our media crew. Shout you guys out back there. You guys work super hard about, certain things that they have a vision for and what they're doing. So, my creative juices start tapping in. I'm like, okay, you got to do this way and that way. And I've just done it so many times that I can do it with my eyes closed. And I truthfully love doing it. Nice. But when it comes to bringing it back to what you were saying about, just helping people and all of that, now in my later years of being in this realm for so long and being at that brink of my success in my career, there's a bunch of realtors and a bunch of individuals rather that have helped, and they've gone on and they were like, okay, I want to try this brokerage because that brokerage looks cool online. It's this new trend that's happening and they do it and it's cool. There's no hate. There's no animosity there. Like everyone is living for the first time trying to figure it out. If you want to go to a different brokerage because that fits your brand at that point or you want to check it out, go and do all of that, right? You can still call me. I'm still the same Falesha. I'm still going to give you the advice. I'm still going to love you. If you decide to come back here and there's room for you here, cool, no problem. It's all love. But some people, I think, get in their minds of like, I'm going to take from this person and then I'm going to sneakily do it. It's like, there's nothing hidden. There's nothing new under the sun. God knows all things. Like everyone has their purpose. And, it's just be very mindful and respectful of how you do it, because you don't want to burn the bridge, because later on, when you need something and you burn that bridge, guess what? It's going to be a lot more difficult. And you don't know the stance who that person is now. And,
And the industry is small, right? And sometimes, I know you've had conversation with people that know me and vice versa. And, they have nothing bad to say about you. They have nothing bad to say about me. If anything, it's good things. But it's because we've kept relationships, right? And we've done things the right way, and we communicate, and we're open. We're not doing things behind the back. We're not being unethical. You know what I mean? So I think that goes a long way. And I think that's why our synergy works. It's just, we're very open and honest about who we are and how we do it. And we want to help. We want to help. That's, and again, speaking on your purpose, that's my purpose, is to help people. I want to bring agents on. I want to help them, show them how to make money in the industry. Do they all listen sometimes? No. But again, that's your own journey. All I can do is give you the ball. You can run with it. And again, when I was taught, he gave me the ball, I ran with it, because I did not want to go back to that 9 to 5. No.
I remember those days. Right? Yeah.
So.
I definitely remember those days of being, in corporate 9 to 5, hating it. It's not your calling and your purpose when you can't stand it. I was always like upset, stressed, depressed over it. And then when I finally was able to be a full-time entrepreneur, I knew I was going to spend 100 hours. I would rather spend 100 hours working on myself than 40 hours for the man. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because for me, this was my piece. This was my purpose. This was my calling. Right? Yeah.
And I always add that in, because it's exactly what you said. I'd rather work 100 hours a week. Figuring out and have the freedom to do and to maneuver how I want. How are we doing this podcast? Would we be able to do this podcast if we work 9 to 5? Probably not.
It is the middle of the week, during the middle of the day, and we have the blessing. And I always say, Mark, like, we have to, more often than not, just give thanks to God for ordaining over our lives, for us to be, leaders, and for us to do kingdom work and be able to do this. It is such a blessing. And when you can get to that point of being able to have all that freedom to do all of the things, to help the people, to lead the people, you have to stop and give thanks.
Absolutely.
Because as climbing the ladder, it's slow, it's gruesome, it's hard work, years and years and years, but you can easily slip off that ladder and head right back to ground zero, and everything be stripped away from you if you don't humble yourself. So I always say, humble yourself before God does.
Absolutely. And on that note, I think we just want to give a thanks to the people that helped us along our journey. And really motivated us and gave us the ball, and we ran with it.
We did run with it,
And here we are. But I think, thanks again for joining, guys. Subscribe. And make sure that you guys subscribe to our channel. Check us out. We got a lot of things, a lot of good stuff coming out. And this is Mark McLaughlin signing off.
I'm Falesha Raquel. And anything that you guys maybe want us to speak about, any feedback, drop it into the comments. We really, really want to build this community up, guys. We really want to pour into you. And we really want to just share our experiences and our knowledge with you. We literally been climbing this journey on entrepreneurship for many, many years, 2 decades, guys. And we are here to serve you. So make sure you click that subscribe button and give us a like, and share this video with somebody who can use this, and it'll bring value to their lives. Until the next one, ciao.
Ciao.